Welcome back to Stop Running Your Business Like a Man podcast. I am so happy to be with you here today again. I have not recorded a solo podcast episode since November 2025. And before that, the podcast was recorded and aired every week, which was at that time very much in line with my energy and how I wanted to put this podcast into the world. But then I needed to step back, reflect, really get clear on what I want to share with you on this podcast. And I think these moments are so important. I call them sanctuaries. I call them, in my feminine creative cycle framework, a rest phase. And these phases are so important. They are not wasted time. And I want to encourage you to take these moments as well in your life, in your business, moments where you pause, you step back, and you reflect, and then you come back aligned with clarity, and you know what you want to do. So was that was my story in the in the past 6 months. And I have decided to come back on the podcast with clarity, knowing exactly what I want to share with you, and with a new format. So from now on, the podcast will have a seasonal format, which is, you will say, this is all in line with what I'm teaching, right? Cyclic business, cyclic living, respecting our rhythms. And there are moments in our life, like 2024, 2025, where I was in this bubbling phase where I had something to say every week. But then, because I had other projects at the end of 2025 and now beginning of the 2026, I needed space for that. And now the seasonal format is much more in line with my rhythm, with my energy. So we are going to be together for this spring summer podcast season. And then, as you know, I'm always having a summer sanctuary, so a big break during the summer, and then I will probably be back here in autumn with a new podcast season. So today, we are talking about something I see constantly with brilliant, ambitious women entrepreneurs. Women who love what they do, women who are successful in their business or in their job, in their careers, women who have built businesses or careers with freedom in mind, yet somehow still feel exhausted, disconnected, overwhelmed, and emotionally depleted. And what makes this especially confusing is this. You think, but I love my business, I love my job. Why do I feel this way? So if you ever feel confused and defeated for being tired, being exhausted when you are doing work you are passionate about, I have made this episode for you. Because loving your business or your job does not make you immune to exhaustion and even burnout. In fact, sometimes loving their business is exactly what keeps women trapped in cycles of overfunctioning, and sometimes for far too long. So today I want to talk about the hidden cost of the masculine coded success, and why the classical way of approaching with the famous work-life balance is not the solution, and how to build, we are going to talk about how to build a business around your energy instead of forcing yourself through life and business. So let's get started. One of the biggest lies women have been sold is this idea that if you love your work, it shouldn't feel draining. But burnout is not only caused by doing work you hate. Burnout happens when your nervous system lives in chronic survival mode for too long, and many high achieving women are unknowingly running their businesses from pressure, from urgency, and constant mental load, and from the patriarchal conditioning that I have analyzed in depth in the episode 69 to 71. So you have episode 69, why women dim their light. Then in episode 70, I talked about imposter syndrome and the patriarchy hidden hand. And then in 71, the perfectionism trap and how patriarchy keeps women striving and small. I will link these episodes in the show notes. so that you can also have that. I think it's important when we talk about this topic to stop looking at this only from an individual perspective and start looking at the collective. And when we are looking at the collective, the patriarchal conditioning plays a huge role. So you can feel exhausted even when business itself is meaningful. You can absolutely love your clients, love your mission, love your creativity, and still be exhausted because of how you are operating. And this is the hidden cost of a masculine coded success. Now, let me be clear. I said it many times on this podcast. Masculine energy itself is not bad. We need healthy masculine energy, the yang energy. It gives structures, it gives direction, execution. But most women were taught to build success from distorted masculine patterns, from constant doing, pushing, suppressing emotions, overriding intuition, and believing rest must be earned. And eventually, your body starts paying the price. Something else I have noticed while working with my clients, when we look from a human design perspective, is that we can see how the conditioning of our lives in our body lives in what the human design calls a not self. So all the distractions, all the patterns, all the conditioning that keeps us from living our design, our true self, our energetic blueprint in this world is in human design called the not self. So for example, for projector women entrepreneurs, I have noticed that they will be stuck in go, 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 do mode and trying to initiate like a manifestor or work like a generator, and they will completely ignore their own signature and their own energetic blueprint as projectors, because projectors work in a very different way. And that brings so many women entrepreneurs who have the projector blueprint in human design that brings them to burnout, even when they absolutely love their business. So human design perspective is also a very powerful one to see how when we have different energetic blueprints and we don't respect that, this is also a cause to burnout. Because when we are not following and respecting how our energy works and we try to force ourselves into a different energetic blueprint, that also brings exhaustion. And since I have started to work with human design in my coaching practice, I see how this brings so much relief. My clients say, finally, I get it. Finally, I understand why I have been stuck in these cycles of exhaustion. So human design is a very powerful perspective when it comes to understanding why, even if we absolutely love what we do, we are still stuck in these cycles of exhaustion. There is another important distinction we need to make, because I see many women rejecting ambition because they think that is not being in your feminine. And since there has been this trend, especially online, especially in the Instagram bubble, there is this huge trend of being your feminine and have a feminine business. And so so largely misunderstood and misinterpreted and taught in a detrimental way. So that's why many women have been brought to the conclusion that ambition is not being in your feminine, so it has to be rejected. But there is a difference between ambition and overfunctioning, and I think this distinction is incredibly important. Ambition is healthy. Women are in their right when they desire success, money, wealth, impact, visibility, leadership. The problem is not ambition. The problem is over-functioning from distorted masculine energy, from distorted yang energy. Over-functioning from distorted masculine energy is when you find yourself in constant go, 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 do mode, and when you feel unsafe to slow down. It's when a rest creates guilt instead of restoration, or when simply you don't even know how to rest, what to do when your kids are in bed, or you can where you have finally shut down your laptop and you finally sit on your sofa, and then you find yourself in a mindlessly scrolling loop on Instagram, or watching Netflix on a loop, or eating an extra large package of chips because that's all you have energy left for. Overfunctioning from distorted masculine energy is when your nervous system believes, if I stop performing, everything will fall apart. And so many women live this way for years. They check many boxes, they achieve success, but because they think that the only way is to keep over functioning, eventually they lose connection with themselves. Because the way the world defines success is one-dimensional, is linear, is masculine, distorted masculine energy. It requires suppressing the feminine energy, and this leaves you disconnected from yourself. And on the other hand, when you follow all this trend to be in your feminine, you notice that that makes you feel unproductive and scattered. And then you are afraid that you will need to sacrifice success and revenue to be in your feminine. You feel like you can't really win at this game, right? You think that you need to choose between logic and intuition, between rest and getting things done. That's because we have inherited systems built on masculine, distorted masculine coded logic and constant output, achievement at any cost, and do and focus. We are taught that excellence must look the same way for everyone. But my goal, my mission with Stop Running Your Business Like a Man podcast is to tell you that you don't have to choose between these two. You can have both. You can have healthy, masculine, young energy and powerful, yin, feminine energy. Because you don't have to operate like a machine. You can instead follow your rhythm, your emotions, your energetic cycle, your energetic blueprint. Now let's talk about why the classical way of seeing this work-life balance, why this is not the solution. Honestly, I think that this phrase, work-life balance, has created more frustration for women than freedom, because balance for many women sounds like 50% work, 50% life, perfect harmony, perfect routine, perfect boundaries, perfect superwoman. But really, life doesn't work that way. And you know it too, right? Some seasons require more visibility. Some seasons require more rest. Some seasons require to be in creative mode, to deeply go into your creativity. Other seasons are restorative. You need restoration and rest. The issue is not what patriarchal society wants us to believe. It's not that women are failing at balance. The issue is that most businesses were never designed to support a woman's actual energy. They were designed around linear productivity. Do more, produce more, stay consistent, keep pushing. But everything in this universe is cyclical. And you have heard me saying this so many times on the podcast. Everything is in this universe is cyclical, and women are no exception. We move in cycles. There are cycles of where the energy goes outwards, cycles where energy goes inward. And when you constantly force yourself to operate from energy outwards and against your natural rhythms, burnout becomes inevitable. And that has been my theory a couple of years ago. And at that time, I didn't have proof for it, except for hours and hours and hours of experience. But now we start to have scientific studies that confirm the theory I had a couple of years ago, that when women don't respect their cycles, that makes them prone to burnout. And this is why so many women feel like they are failing even when they are doing everything quote unquote right, according to all the business gurus and all the career coaches. Because when women are trying to fit themselves into systems that were never built for sustainability, that's what happens. What changed everything for me and for the women I work with was understanding this. Our businesses are sustainable only when they are cyclic. Only when they follow our rhythms and the cosmic rhythms and the rhythms of nature. And when I started to work with my business as a cycle, I thought that will make it, that basically will prevent me from paying my bills. But what I have noticed in my business and while working with women, that's when businesses become even more profitable and sustainable and profitable, when they are cyclic, when they follow our rhythms. That's the good news I wanted to come here and share with you today. You don't need to force yourself through the same intensity every day. Some days are naturally expansive and creative, and you feel that your energy goes outward, and you feel that you want to be more social, and you are magnetic. But other days are better for reflection, are better for receiving the guidance from your intuition, are better for slowness and rest and downloading your strategy. And this is not random. That's also important to understand. These days are not random. Whenever I have my clients start documenting their cycle, they're like, oh my God, I thought that actually that was just a random thing. I have days where I feel good, I feel days where I feel down, and that's just erratic up and down. But that's not the truth. That's what patriarchy again wanted us to believe, that women are unpredictable. That's why we cannot do medical studies on women, because they are completely unpredictable because of their cycle, that women are not predictable and coherent. But the truth is the opposite. It's actually an organized cyclical structure. And I call this structure the feminine creative cycle. It has 4 phases, the 4 ingredients you need to complete any project: rest, emerge, expand, adjust. In any project, you need to start into the void, into the womb of creation, because creation always starts in the dark. Look at the baby in her mother's womb. Look at the seeds inside the womb of the earth. Creation starts in the dark. Creation starts with rest. And then we have emerge. That's when everything is sprouting like spring in nature. And we have energy to go outwards. And then we can expand. It's like summer. We are out there. We are magnetic. It's much easier to put our work into the world. And then comes again a phase where we are inwards. And then we can adjust and can finalize the projects. So instead of seeing those shifts between these 4 phases, between these 4 ingredients as a problem, we can start honoring them as intelligence. Because creativity needs space, intuition needs silence, vision needs white space and breathing room. And what surprises the women I work with is that when they stop forcing productivity, they often become more effective, more clear, more magnetic, more innovative, and more emotionally available. And this is what I call feminine, energetic leadership and cyclical business. It's learning to use both yin and yang energies in business. The healthy masculine creates structure. The healthy feminine creates magnetism. One without the other creates disconnection and imbalance. Too much masculine energy leads to exhaustion, and too much feminine energy without structure leads to scattered energy, to procrastination and lack of drive. But when you put them together, that's where sustainable success lives. I also want to talk about something I believe women deeply crave right now, and that is sovereignty. And one aspect of that is time sovereignty. I think women are at the point where they don't want just financial freedom. Financial freedom is already a huge step. But I think women want more than financial freedom today. They want time freedom paired with financial freedom. They want the ability to breathe, to think, to be present, to have spacious moments for the other things they have in their lives, other projects that they want to enjoy their relationship. They want to create without pressure. That doesn't mean, like I said in the beginning, that doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means redefining success. Because success that costs you your health, your joy, your relationships, your nervous system, your peace, it's not sustainable success. A business that constantly requires self-sacrifice and self-abandonment is eventually going to feel heavy, no matter how successful it looks externally. I think women are waking up to that truth right now. They no longer want to build businesses that only reward exhaustion. They want businesses that feel nourishing. And one of the strategies I put in place, and I have been teaching my clients for the past 5 years, I think almost 5 years, is to introduce sanctuaries. And I have a summer sanctuary and a winter sanctuary. Most of my clients have that, especially with children. That seems to work the best. Also, when you want to follow the seasons, but also you can have different. I have also clients who have sanctuaries every month. So it's a really a customized strategy that I teach. And so these sanctuaries, they are not holidays, although you can include holidays inside, but they are longer and more spacious than holidays. And they are these sacred pauses when you retract from producing and doing and executing in your business. And you have time to envision, to reflect, to create, and to rest. I have several episodes on Summer Sanctuary and Winter Sanctuary. I will link some of them in the show notes. You can also go through, this is episode 99. I cannot believe it. It's almost 100 episodes. So I will link some of them, but you can also scroll down into the podcast and listen to different episodes, because when you introduce sanctuaries in your business, in your life, it's a strategy that has a huge impact. So if you have been feeling tired lately, if you have been questioning yourself, if you have secretly feel overwhelmed, because many women don't talk about this, because it's so hard to say, I am overwhelmed, I am tired, when you love your work. So if this is you, I want you to know this. You are not failing at this. Your body may be simply be asking for a new way of operating. Your energetic blueprint might be different. You might be craving a different way, a more sustainable way, a way that also includes feminine energy and masculine energy in a healthy dose. So in the end, a more human way, because we all have these both energies. And you might be actually craving a way where success is created not through constant force, but through alignment, through clarity, through structure and rest, through intuition and logic, and through energetic integrity and respect of your energetic blueprint. I believe, and that's why I have decided to come back with a new season on the podcast, because I believe that you were never meant to build your business by abandoning yourself in the process. Thank you so much for being here with me today for this new season. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with another ambitious woman who needs the permission to stop carrying success in survival mode. I'll see you in the next episode of Stop Running Your Business Like a Man.